Hey guys, welcome back. This is Dr. McAndrew, and we're going to continue to go in on Branois Minhas, Lane Higa, Salus in general, what they're doing wrong, why it's a bad school, why they went out of their way to set me up for failure, just what my experience was like, what I had to go through. For any students who are in there, it's not to be negative, it's to protect people. No one protected me. And there's definitely some staff members that took advantage of their power, and that, again, primarily Branois Minhas, who I think is kind of the more masculine leader of the group, and then her lackey is Lane Higa the Shiga. A lot of people in my class used to call him the feminine guy, or the tampon queen, or the Tampax Pearl girl, but those are the two we're really going in on. Those are the two that you need to be aware of if you're going to Salus. Just you need to stay away from them. They're not there to help you. These are people who are there to bring you down. So last time we started going in on basically my first day. It was my second day in clinic, first day in TEI, and that's where the issues began with Branois. And I had mentioned a suspicion about, because she had come in late and all huffy and talking about how I thought maybe she was on the toilet having constipation, struggling. So I just got a sense, and I shouldn't just speculate, but I want to follow up a little bit more about that day and what happened, because I don't think I gave too many details. I was just getting so worked up. I'm not writing anything down. Actually, you probably saw I have a notebook here, but that's in case I need to do any illustrations to make any points for you guys. So, so we're there in clinic. Minhas is getting very confrontational, and something she did that I would just want to say, because Lane Higa would use this later, was something where, like, rapid fire questions. Like, if she decides she wants to get confrontational, she'll come into you and start rapid firing questions, and it's like this, because we're gonna get to this, but she's into true crime apparently, so she watches this stuff and has fantasies and thinks that she's some kind of cop, and that students are criminals, and that she needs to come in and catch who doesn't belong and this and that, instead of leaving it to just the grades and if we've met the requirements and things of that nature. She thinks her gut kind of can override. So, and she's got quite the gut, if you guys know what I mean. But that's a whole other story, and we'll get into that, because there are some issues with a healthcare professional that does not take care of themselves. So, so she comes in late to clinic. I'm in there. I've been given my first patient on my own. It's a contact lens exam. No idea what I'm supposed to do. And I'm panicking and I'm nervous and I'm just kind of chatting, trying to get somebody to, like, talk to and figure it out. And so she finally comes in late, like 10, 15 minutes late. I don't remember exactly, but she was late. Wasn't there when I needed her. And then just starts getting confrontational, why would you do that with contacts? Like, instead of like explaining things to me, she just got so, again, confrontational, angry, just bad attitude. Just someone who doesn't need to be there. Like, just doesn't need to be working with students. So, anyway, she barks a bunch of orders at me. I go into the room. I do the thing. And by the way, for some reason, I have a student shadowing me. There was like one time, maybe a couple times. There's more than once, but not often did I have students shadowing me in clinic. But yeah, on my first fucking day in there on my own, that's a great day to have someone shadow me right on a Saturday. Good move, Salus. So anyway, Minhas tells me all this stuff. I go in the room, do my best. There's like one thing I can't remember if she told me to take the contacts out or leave them in, and the patient is having issues with the contact. The patient was like crying. So I'm like, you know what? I kept trying to check to like ask Minhas again, but she was so like not aware of her surroundings and so slow with whatever patient she was with that like it was just ridiculous. I'm waiting like 30 minutes for her. So eventually I told this lady, listen, I might get in trouble. I think she told me to leave him in, but just take him out. This lady was like in so much pain. And then eventually Minhas comes in, and that's a huge problem. And it would have been faster if you left him in, because then now she's got to put him back in. I got to waste my time. After she had made me wait around for 45 fucking minutes for her. So again, it's my first day. There's just no need. If I was in there, I would never get so testy with a student who's like, she couldn't pick up on the fact that I was new, I was nervous. Like, there are these subtleties to it that a smarter person would have picked up on, but there's not a lot of brain power in that Minhas head. So, anyway, so I got in trouble for that. Got like just talked down to and everything. As you know, it's like I'm not a person. Like I'm some kind of like dog or something. You know, that's what you're getting from Minhas. You're not getting intelligent. Like right now, I might be angry, but I'm still giving it to you guys straight. I'm not just in here raging and screaming and saying, well, she's a dumbhead, that's why. You know, I'm giving the facts. And if anyone challenges these facts, let me know. If you think I'm lying or if you disagree, let's hear it. Let's have a discussion. Because I just want to protect people. I want my story to be heard. I went through the school and it was just such a bad experience. It was just fucking awful. Like there was just so much like in the way of staff members trying to put a stop to me, without taking me in, without getting to know me as a person. Just kind of first impression. Oh, I don't think you're gonna make it, and then acting on that. So anyway, so I'm getting far away from the details here because I'm getting worked up again. I'm gonna try to reel it in. So we go through, you know, I finish the thing. I'm juggling myself being nervous, the patient, Minhas barking at me. I've got a new student, and I'm not cracking. I'm doing my thing. I'm trying to, you know, do the right thing. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. If I don't get an A+, if I, you know, she knocks some points, I get it. It's a learning experience. It's day one. I'm here to learn. But nope, little did I know that was, you know, Minhas got a bad taste, and that was all that was needed at Salus. It didn't matter that I was like 27 at that time. I had been through so much and, you know, come such a long way. Minhas didn't need to take me in. She apparently her gut is just so good, and she watches so much true crime that, you know, right off the bat, she knew I wouldn't be a success. Not like her, a big success. So, let me give you guys more specific details. So anyway, so we get through it. Then at the end, Salus is big on wasting your time with stupid shit so that the staff members can feel better about themselves, but it's not helpful to you, the student. So you can never leave when you're done. You always have to spend so much extra time when you could be studying or exercising or doing anything. You have to fucking sit around for so long waiting for everyone to finish, and then they always want you to, like, they call it the round table discussion because it just has to have a name. So even though the tables are rectangles, you basically go around and everyone has to like say, like, just talk about their case. So I saw a patient and they came in and they had cataracts, and then you have to give like a fact about the cataract so you're not learning anything from this. At least I wasn't. Everyone learns different. Some people maybe got a benefit from that, but for me, you're just nervous, like waiting for your turn. Let me hope I can say something that they'll go, oh, okay, and then we can move on and get the attention off me, because it's not really for me. It's for somebody else. But they make you sit around and do that. They make it such a big deal. This is so important. We don't want you leaving and using your time efficiently. It's so important that you sit and do this round table shit, because the doctor might tell you some key thing that's so important that you won't learn anywhere else. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so we have to do this fucking round table thing, and you know, someone else goes, then it's my turn, and I'm describing my case, and I get like 2 or 3 sentences in, and Minhas is just like, okay, move on. I'm just like, oh, okay, like, you're literally interacting with me like I'm not a person, but okay, I just move on. I guess I don't, you know, did you not get my check? I paid money to be here too, and I met the requirements, and I passed the test and the practicals, but okay, I guess everyone else can do their thing, and I have to sit here and listen to all that, but when it's my turn, I get 2 sentences, and you tell me to shut up. So, good job, Minhas. You're a real intellectual. You're a real thinker. You're a real brainsman, or a brainswoman. So then, she tells us that our homework is to go home and watch Making a Murderer on Netflix, and tell us what she thinks happened. And so, obviously, like, she's being facetious, and that's not, like, we don't have to do that, but the fact that she would make that joke, first of all, and then for me, I couldn't, you know, I was nervous, and I was, like, kind of cracking some jokes to keep things light, but I wasn't saying anything rude or disrespectful or whatever, but since I wasn't the most, like, austere, like, you know, she was so upset, but then she thinks she can tell us our homework is to go watch Making a Murderer on Netflix. Here's my issue, because, well, actually, I'll get to it in a second, so keep that in mind. Making a Murderer on Netflix, that's our homework. Then I get home, and I mentioned last time, I didn't see it like that day or anything. I know she wrote it probably right after. She was fuming, but eventually came to my attention. She gave me like a 0 out of 5. Worst grade you can give. I know you could give it that low. And she typed that there's not really a reason for this. This is not reflective of his clinical skills or his knowledge. This is just because I can do whatever I want, and I think he won't be successful. So it's not helpful. It's not useful. And so anyway, so getting back to Making a Murder, why am I talking about this? If you are deciding what's successful and what's not, and being this hyper-judgmental, hypercritical person, then you have to be like so elite yourself. You have to be, your body's got to be in shape. You got to be the smartest person there is. You got to be never stopping, like, you got to be at home on your free time listening to Beethoven while you do crunches and study Latin. Like, you cannot be at home just watching Netflix and then talking down to me as if you're this big god and I'm just, mud of some kind. And I don't get to talk or participate or anything. I'm not entitled to the things that everyone else is just because of your gut feeling or whatever it is. So, yeah, so there's that. That's something I'm going to kind of put a bookmark in that. Let's talk a little bit about just education in general, because this is going to come into play as well. So a couple of points to make. One, think about this, and I shouldn't have to explain this. If I do, you're not very smart. Albert Einstein did not get good grades, very well documented. So think about that in terms of the way that we look at school and education and judging people, and you got to get the A, it's important, C's are bad, A's are good, this and that. So yeah, one of the smartest people ever, Einstein, did not get good grades. So anyone in education, think about that. I'm not going to elaborate on that. I don't need to right now. If I do, you're stupid. Maybe I'll talk about it another time too. Here's more of a metaphor. I mean, the Einstein thing's a metaphor too, but this is a sports metaphor. So you may not know, but I'll kind of give a background. If you're a sports person, you'll know. But Tom Brady is a football player. He's a quarterback, and he's been playing for a long time, and he's considered one of the best. Some people say he is the best. He's pretty good regardless. Everyone will agree that he's very good. I'm not here to talk sports, but the funny thing about his case is that when he was drafted very late. He was in like the 6th round of the draft. Every team had a chance to pick him earlier. Every team passed on him. He was basically a nobody. And so how did he go through this analysis and have all these experts in the field look at him and try to grade him and mark him so low? And then he comes out and is such a, historically one of the all-time greats, one of the most successful players. And he says, the things that they're testing at these combines are not testing your ability to play quarterback and be a football player. They're testing how much weight you can lift, how fast you can run, different like shuttle runs and things like that, how high you can jump. There's like the Wonderlic test, which I think is some kind of like IQ test. So there's different things like that they do to try to gauge athleticism and get a sense, but they're not analyzing you in a game playing football. And that's kind of the point he was making. So I think as a metaphor, we've got to be careful in education where just being so sure of ourselves. This person doesn't have, the grades aren't A pluses. So, the A plus people are up here, the B people are down here. We're not so sure of that. There's, for different reasons. So here's kind of why I actually brought my paper out. Let me show you guys a little graph here I'm going to make. This is going to be like they call it like a bell curve or something like that. And you see this in anything. In height, you get most people are middle height. Some people are really tall. Some people are really short. Sorry if you can't see it too well. I used a pen. It's like a marker pen too. I'm going to try that again. And we'll see the same thing in grades. Some people get A's. Some people get F's. So we'll say A, F, that's like not that many people, and most people are somewhere in like the B to D range. That's the vast majority. That's a little bit more like quote unquote average, but you see there's so many people, so there's, it's not really average. But anyway, point of this, when you have grades in education, and sorry if it's backwards, maybe the A should be on that side, but anyway, I'm doing this upside down and in the camera. Right, we tell everyone strive for here, strive for the A's, stay away from the F's, and if you're in here, you're average. So here's where this breaks down, and here's the issue that I take with this. Up here, we're going to back up a second. We're going to translate this. We're going to make another metaphor to weightlifting, and then I'll get back to this. So follow along. Use that brain power. Two people can lift weights, and we could both lift the exact same weights and do the same exercise, the same reps, do everything the same, and have different results just based on genetics. One person may grow muscle a lot easier and faster. The other person might have a harder time putting on the muscle. And I think, as an analogy, as a metaphor to education, two people can sit there and listen to the same lecture, and one person can get more value from it than the other person. And it doesn't mean that one person worked harder than the other person. And also, things are so complex. Again, in weightlifting, one person may have an easier time building their shoulders, but maybe the other person's got a bit easier time building their legs. Different people have different strengths. In education, maybe one person learns really well sitting in a lecture. Maybe another person doesn't. Maybe the other person prefers to study quietly, like just reading it to themselves. And the first person maybe doesn't learn so well that way. There's so many different things and so many different factors. So getting back to my little bell curve here, and pushing people to the A's and hiring off of the A's, and these are the best people, these are who we want, these are the people to stay away from. Well, you get some people, some really good people in here, that's for sure. You get those people that just are really smart. They don't need to, they study just the same as us, as everyone else. Average guy, us, I'm saying me, like an average dude. But they get a higher grade consistently because they're just better at school, this and that, whatever. So those are good people to have. They're knowledgeable, obviously, and talented. But what you also get is people that are more cutthroat, maybe people that are really good at cheating, so they've always gotten their way, maybe people who put more value on this grading system than the actual value they're giving to the world, which in this case, what I'm talking about is seeing patients. And that's sort of what I'm trying to get to, is that at Salus, there's so much of this, like snootiness, and we're so good. We hire the best. We've got this doctor who's so smart, and these people are so smart, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not really learning anything from them because a lot of them are like intimidating, socially awkward, like hypercritical, hyper demanding, not necessarily people that need to be working with students. Like, you need to get those people shouldn't be with students. They should be out like on the front lines, quite frankly. And they're putting emphasis on the way you're charting and this and that, and it's like, guys, the students are here to learn the science of this. Like, we don't need to learn like basics of like just different. There's things that you can learn out in the workplace. Like, my boss can decide if I'm being professional or not. A second grader can describe basic professionalism. This idea at Salus that you're just not professional. It doesn't. You could see a patient and have a great experience and correct their vision and everything's good, and the person next to you did the same thing, but that person was professional and you just weren't professional. And we can't say why that was. We don't have a specific reason, but it's Minhas's gut, and if enough of us put our heads together, we feel confident that we're right. And I'll say a quote that I like: the popular consensus doesn't make it right. And especially at this level, we have to be critical thinkers. So at Salus, it's there's so much just how can we stay away from critical thinking? How can we automate things? How can we make education one size fits all? Force out anyone who we think's going to fail, and that'll make us look better. Instead of how can we teach better and stop being aggressive and stop like making people uncomfortable? How can we turn that up? How can we force out people? Because I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm getting so heated. But Salus historically has been one of the worst schools, even though they're, I think, the oldest optometry school in the country. They always have the worst grades on the boards. And so it makes you wonder, is it the students or is it the school? And so they brought us in, like when we were getting ready to take boards, and it was a required meeting, and you can't use your time wisely. You have to come to this. It's important that we all talk to you and show you. And basically what it was, they had made a graph from the previous year with people's grades on the x-axis and their board scores on the y-axis, and then they made a linear regression, which means they did like a computer analysis thing, and it made a line automatically to sort of make like a correlation, and then it gives you like a number to tell you how strong or weak of a correlation it is. And it was a weak correlation, but this is like high school stuff. Everyone knows this. But they were so proud of themselves. We made a graph here. We use linear regression analysis. Look how smart we are. The people with bad grades won't pass boards, and the people with good grades will pass boards. And we needed to tell you guys that. And the thing is, and then they go, okay, well, here's the deal. The students who aren't doing as well, we know why. They're not working hard enough. And it just pissed me off because I was dealing with a lot of shit, and I was basically at a point, and most of it was with school. There was some personal stuff too. I'm not going to get into it, but I got to a point where I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to get it done. I'm going to slide by. I don't care. Fuck you. You guys don't want to help me. Fuck you then. I'm not going to ask a question. I'm not going to strive to be the best because that's what I was doing. I keep getting slapped in the face around here. So I'll play your stupid little game because I'm not going to just give up everything at this point. I already had so much invested into it. So I'm just sliding by at that point, just enough to pass. But what they didn't understand, I was working hard every day, and no one was in there with me seeing that. People didn't see me at my apartment studying. I was doing most of the stuff alone. So where are they coming to these conclusions? It's so stupid how they go, okay, we're going to put our heads together to decide what you guys are doing and what you're doing instead of talking to us and dealing with us. So it's there's just a disconnect. This is probably about all I want to. I'm getting pretty long here. So again, I got some rambling about education. It's all going to come together again. I'm just laying some groundwork. I want you guys to think about this kind of stuff because that's the problem a lot at Salus is we don't think critically. We try to do it. We think, what's the average person think? Like the average person goes, oh, well, you should have A's and you should have your chest out and be a professional and this and that. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, I need to be able to serve my patients. And that's the 5%, who understands. It doesn't matter what you think of me. I just don't care. If you're going to start telling me that I suck and this and that, but you're not going to take me in and get to know me, fuck you then. I'm just going to do it on my own. I'm here to help people. I'm not in first grade. They're acting like they're teaching you how to put your pants on and stuff. It's crazy. So there's one more thing I want to say here. How long am I at? 23 minutes. Okay. Give me a minute. It's going to come to me. Okay, well, part of it, this is not really it, but part of it, what I was saying about this earlier, some good people in here in the A range, some people that are the cutthroats, the cheaters, the people that make this more important than helping people. There's also smarter people down here, smarter people probably even down here that realize that this isn't all that, this isn't what life revolves around being up here. But we look at it as if everyone's just the exact same and you can put people on this thing and these are better and those are worse. And also, the other issue with people up here, a lot of them, you get, like I was saying, kind of the full of themselves types, the I'm better than you, the I'm smarter than you, I can just lie to you and you'll believe it because I'm smarter. So you get a lot of that type, and that's what we're going to get a little bit more into next time. I've been talking about Higa's lies, so we're going to start getting to that soon. But this is more to kind of follow up from last time on Minhas, start getting into a little bit of just education in general, what's the problem with that, and how that's going to start applying to Salus. So we'll get into more details. Again, I know that it's still pretty amorphous at this point, but we're honing in. I didn't appreciate what happens, and I'm protecting any students that are there. No one protected me when I was there. It was an awful fucking experience. I got through it because, I had the ability to, and but I was identified as someone who didn't have the ability to, you know what I mean? So there was a misjudgment and misassessment, and then just such a strong acting on it, such a we trust our gut. We don't need to think about logic. We don't need to, you're reasoning with us. Well, that's not what we want to hear. We just get to, popular consensus makes it right, buddy. The popular consensus. So anyway, yeah, that's going to do it for now. I'll see you guys next time.